Hi again, welcome to my space. I hope you started searching for the properties already. Like, no time to waste, no pressure. No pressure, please. Right, so there are some things that they do not tell you when you're purchasing a property that you need to know, just in case you want to proceed in buying a property. So these are just a few tips, right, for you to consider, so you know, and so it informs your choice. So like I mentioned, it is a shell apartment, finished or furnished. For furnished, 100% of it. Well, I think there are some properties that actually comes furnished, even though it's still on plan. So when it's on plan, it basically means you cannot see anything. See, it is bare land, sometimes bare land, or maybe they just started the foundation. In our case, I think they were just constructing the garages at the time, or even were they constructing the garages? I think they were just digging. I can't remember. Okay, so it's on plan. You don't get to see anything. It's just basically the design or the render of the property, how it will look like, like a proper plan. Just like this, so to show you, okay, where the bathroom will be positioned, the number of rooms, the square and the size. You don't get to see anything. It is risky, I won't even lie, because so you'll not get what you expected versus what was now produced at the end of the day, or what was achievable at the end of the day. I've seen instances where you pay the deposit for a property and all, and eventually when it's time to sign the contract, the architect will come to the property, but they will not approve it. And if the architect does not approve the property, the bank will not give you the mortgage, because there are certain requirements, standard requirements that cannot be ignored. For example, especially the height of the property, the height of the apartment. I know it cannot be, I think 260, cannot be less than 260 meter in terms of height, right? So it cannot be 260 centimeter, less than 260 centimeter in terms of height. I remember someone who paid deposit, and when it was time to sign contract, they didn't approve it. So the person was now looking for a way to sell it, because the developer was like, oh, okay. There's nothing you could do about it. I think they had to start breaking, or I can't really remember how, that worked. Or I think they had to remove the gypsum ceiling, that was in the apartment. Or it's just a whole hassle. So please take note of this. Take note of this. Let it be in the agreement that, okay, this property, thank God, thankfully, we did not have these issues, but let it be in the agreement that the height, everything has to be up to standard. Otherwise, you get your funds back, you get your deposit back. Especially if you're buying from, not a developer, maybe from an owner, someone who already lived there. Maybe at the time the person got the property, the height was okay, or whatever it is was okay, but now things have changed and it's no more permitted, right? Depending on what it is. So you need to be very careful. Sometimes what you pay way more when you are in your own property than when you're in a rented apartment. Like when you now work out the bills, especially like the insurance and everything, like gosh, it could be a lot. It could be even more than when you were renting. But then at least the consolation is that you're investing into your property. So that is why it is really important that you just buy a property that is within your means, so that you would not struggle with, payments, insurance, and all of that. Also, unlike when you are in a rented apartment, everything, if there's any damage, you'd get to fix it yourself. There's no owner that you'll be calling to say, okay, please, my sink is blocked, or there's this thing on the wall, or whatever. Like, you will get to do it yourself. Like, geez, my husband, he has talked to an electrician, a plumber, bricklayer, like everything. Like and of course, well, it also helps because it now makes you really hands-on, like a lot of DIY. Like even when we're setting up the furniture, we had to do it ourselves. Like we had to do it ourselves. Like, so you're on your own when you're in your own property. Nobody's gonna do anything for you. You do it yourself. You pay for it if you have to call someone to check it. So just bear that in mind. Also, you are stuck in the same location. So unlike when you're renting, like, okay, tired of this particular area, I need to move to the south, or I need to move to the north, or I even need to move outside Malta. You are kind of stuck, like, oh God, This thing is like tying me down, because when you think about everything you've invested into it, your time, your energy, your funds, it is not too easy to just stand up and move, okay? Except of course you can decide to sell the property, and you even make some money off it anyway. Another thing that I wish we knew is that as a non-EU, if you're buying a property and you require an AIP permit, if you're buying in a random area, and as a result of this, you cannot rent it out. You actually cannot rent out the property. You can only sell, right? I think you can even only sell to a multinational. You cannot rent it out. So if we had known, one thing we would have done was to buy in an SDA area. That's what it's called. So it's a special designated area, yeah. So if you're a non-EU and you're buying a property in an SDA area, you can choose to do whatever you want with the property. You can sell it, you can rent it, you can use it for whatever you want. And in fact, you do not even have to be living in Malta to be able to buy the property, right? You can choose to live somewhere and be like, okay, let me invest it in Malta and then, rent this out. There are a few pros and cons that you need to bear in mind before proceeding or deciding on which to go for. When buying on plan, either shell, furnished or finished, you get to recreate and adjust the design to suit your needs. I think for me, that's like the major pro, because you can, of course, you would not even really get it 100% what you would have loved, right? But I think to a very large extent, we're able to maneuver and change a lot of things, since it was still on plan anyway. They had not built our floor, okay? So we're able to, I remember we added a toilet, an extra guest toilet. We moved the master bedroom to another position. We were able to carve out a kids corner. We changed quite a bit, even in the yard as well. The washroom, we're able to really, really design it to suit our needs. We're able to decide that, okay, we want the kitchen in this particular angle. We do not want it here. We want the kitchen separate from the living area, so to speak. So we're able to change quite a few, and that's the beauty of buying on plan, right? They've not constructed it yet, so you can make changes, not structural changes. So it gives you a choice to kind of finish it to your own taste. When you buy on plan, it's really way cheaper than buying a property that you can already see. So just in case you do not have extra funds to spare, you could just decide to go for on plan because it is cheaper. I remember properties we were checking at the time, it was as low as 50K cheaper, right, than buying a property that is already built, right? If we're going to get this particular property already built, we'll be spending like 50 to 100,000 more. It affords you time to save up, because like I said, when you are paying the deposit, you are paying tax, property tax, you are paying stamp duty. I think we spent some time about this, like if I should calculate the entire extra fees. So you can imagine paying, if it was a fully furnished apartment ready to move in, you can imagine paying all of those fees at the same time. It might be hard, really, but it affords you time to just save up and kind of breathe a bit. At least when you pay the 10% deposit, you breathe a bit and then save up on the other fees. For the cons, Jesus, the wait is endless. What? 2019, 2021, geez. So if you do not have patience, if you are in a hurry to move in, don't bother looking for property on plan. Because trust me, if they mention to you that it will be ready within 6 months, just add an extra 6 months or even add 1 year. In our own case, like I mentioned in the previous video, 1 year, in fact, it was supposed to be ready June 2020. This is October 2022. Over 2 years later, it's still not completed. When it's not completed, we really cannot say, okay, this building, because the lift, for example, doesn't work yet. No, the garages aren't ready yet. In fact, drainage has not really been properly fixed. Yeah, we just had to move in because we're just tired of waiting. So the wait is endless. Because imagine if we had not moved in November 2021. If we're still like, oh no, we want everything to be completed, we want the common areas to be finished and all. What? would have still been paying rent for 1 year now, you know. So the wait is endless and it can be very frustrating and annoying, you know. So if you do not want stress, just buy a property that is fully finished, fully furnished. And the second disadvantage would be dealing with artisans. It can be very daunting, very frustrating. Like, they will test your patience in several ways. Thankfully, we got this finished. So you can imagine if it was a property that was actually in shell form. I don't know how I would have done it, to be honest. Speaking about artisans, like, I had a very terrible experience with the person who fixed our sink. In fact, I wish, you know, when you have like a picture or an idea of what you want. As you can see, the sink, this wasn't what it was supposed to be at all. Like, we wanted an undermount sink. That was why we even went for like this kind of bowl. We wanted an undermount sink so that the edges would not show like this. There was a language barrier in the sense that I think it was an Italian or was it Maltese also. He didn't understand English. So it was difficult, you know, relating with him. Those who installed the kitchen just came to install the kitchen. So we were supposed, they got the sink and all, but we were supposed to install it. But I just, God, I don't even want to think about it. This sink, we told him, wanted under mount, carved under mount. Like, that was the whole idea. That was why we even got this sink in the first place. Gosh, do you know that this guy, in fact, I think we even had placed it under already, but it's just that it wasn't installed. Yes, we placed it under. So it was just for him to kind of, you know, it was going to be very easy for him to just, you know, glue it up or whatever. Do you know what this guy did? Oh, Jesus. That day I cried because we came and we're like, ah, he was still walking away, wondering what happened. He was pretty much cutting because he said, oh, he tried to fix it on top, but it wasn't fitting in. And so he started kind of, let's say, breaking the top, like this top. He started breaking it so that it would fit in. I mean, they had already fitted this. He was just supposed to just insert it from underneath, and that was it. Connect it. He was just supposed to basically connect it underneath. It was already positioned just for him to connect it. This guy, no, he decided to bring it out and then fix it from on top and started breaking the edges so that it would fit properly. But then there was nothing we could do again. It was already expanded. It could not sit under again, and we had to just live with this. In fact, when we called the guys who fixed the kitchen top, we're like, oh, can anything be done? But they're like, no, they've already measured everything, you know. But this sink situation is not one that I will forget in a hurry. So please communicate clearly with these artisans. Like, if you have to even get an interpreter, so if you do not want to deal with any back and forth, you just want the place that's fully furnished and not, just, you know, go for it. Thank you. I hope this video has been helpful. Do not forget to click on the thumbs up, like the video. I'm actually waiting. Like the video. Like the video. So like the video, subscribe if you've not subscribed already, and share. Okay, thank you for watching.